Welcome to the future. This is Ina Braxton from the Digital Future Lab, and you're listening to our weekly DFL podcast, where we cover the state of the gaming industry, technology, and diversity. Here are your hosts, Samantha Riley and Jesus Govella.
Hello and welcome to the DFL podcast. I'm Jesus.
And I'm Samantha.
And today we have a special guest, Joe.
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm a QA intern here.
And our topic for today will be VR, games and other experiences in general. So to start off, we'll talk about VR games we've played or heard about or seen, and just our thoughts on them. So I guess I'll go first. So I have a Vive at home myself, and I've played Beat Saber is a pretty popular one. That's a lot of fun. That's a rhythm game. Another VR game I played is the Lab. That's a free one they have on Steam. It's sort of like a show-off test of the Vive. So, but it's still pretty fun. It's got some good mini games and like experiences as well. Like you can go to like the top of a mountain in VR, and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've never played any VR games, so I can't speak on that, but I don't know. It sounds cool.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a Daydream at home, and I kind of use it to emulate a Vive. So I can technically play HTC Vive-like games, except I don't have like the precise movement as the regular Vive. But I am able to play games such as Beat Saber, not precisely, but at least I can run it and stuff. I've also played games such as VR Chat, and I think a movie one was Spider-Man Experience VR test thingy. But I've also watched plenty of VR movies with my Daydream controller, so because I don't need to like use my computer, and I can just like put in my phone inside. So yeah.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, so the Daydream VR headset pretty much uses your phone, and like when you put in like through these like two lens thingies, it pretty much like zooms in the screen. But before like that could be done, like the screen is split into like two, and they're both the same image, so like it makes it easier for like the lenses to just kind of like pretend like it's a real VR headset. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't tried any of the VR headsets that are your phone, just in like a case, but they seem like they're pretty good too. Those.
Yeah, what I like about them is that they're pretty affordable, and anyone can like just kind of use them to like kind of get a quick taste of how VR is like without having to like go out to like a VR arcade or buying an entire PC required VR station. But if they really want to get immersed, like I'd recommend like getting a Vive or Oculus Rift. Both companies are starting to like come out with more affordable and more portable versions. I heard about like the Vive getting like a wireless attachment, so you don't have to get like tethered to a computer, like you're like chained to it and stuff. And I just thought like it's really cool. Yeah, VR technology is progressing pretty smoothly these past years, and yeah, I'm just kind of excited what's in store.
When you guys like, how often do you guys use like, your VR games? I'm curious to know.
I used to. I mean, back when I kind of like got my Daydream, or just kind of like had like a cardboard VR setup for my phone, I know I played it like every other day. What I mostly done with phone VR back in the day is kind of like emulate it as a HTC Vive, like I said earlier, to just kind of like see what it's like to like play FPS games in virtual reality, and I thought it was like pretty cool.
Okay, Joe is doing awesome hand motions right now, and everyone listening can't see. Like, it should
right,
be
right.
audio. No, I love it. Like, we get a perfect visual, but he made little, like, VR glasses for him. What about you? How often do you play?
Back when I first got the Vive, I was like, I went a few like straight days, like maybe a week, just playing that. But then like a month later, it was like once a week, just mainly because it's kind of a hassle because I can't do it in my room where my PC is. I have to move my PC to the living room so I have enough space to play.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it because you have to be like standing and walking around?
Yeah, some of the games require you to stand and have at least like 6 square feet.
Oh, okay. So it's a pretty active game, it seems like, whereas you're not, you play video games sitting in a chair for a long time, but these games, you can be a little more, I don't know, get some exercise in, I guess.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The reason why the Vive would require such space is because their tracking system actually utilizes, I think, some like base stations on like in the room. So like you get like so the Vive comes with like 2 like little boxes that kind of do like the tracking of wherever you are in the space, and the VR and the Vive has like these little holes that kind of integrate with those stations, and the stations you get like stands to kind of like prop them up, so like and that requires like space, but it's worth the setup because it allows you to like move around the room like you're actually there, compared to like a phone setup where you can technically only be tracked like as you were sitting, and you can't do like any room movement. So yeah.
Yeah, and along with the setup for the Vive, it can be a little cumbersome right now, but it should only take like 5 minutes once you've done it before. It's just setting up the base stations in the corners of the room and then just hooking everything up. But once you get it going, it's pretty accurate if you've set it all up correctly and done the room setup, because they need to know like exactly how much room you have, and if there's anything in the way, like a table, you can kind of tell it that there's a table there, and then when you're in VR, it'll show you like this wall, like this virtual wall, so you don't bump into things.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think Valve calls it like the chaperone system, where it's like it has like this barrier. Yeah. It's actually a really useful guide, so I don't like trip out and like realize I hit a wall or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the scariest thing, because I feel like your orientation's all thrown off once you put the, what do they call it, glasses, VR headsets.
Headset.
Well, once you put your headsets off, take on, your whole orientation's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very easy to get motion sickness in VR.
Oh.
Especially if you're moving like smoothly in the game, not teleporting, but you're like, everything your eyes are telling you is telling you you're moving, but you're not actually moving your feet at all. So that's pretty jarring the first time.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
A lot of people fall over the first time.
Yeah.
That's why like games that require like room movement is completely optional. You can just like kind of sit and like look around and stuff. So developers like to play with VR and just kind of make it accessible for everyone, not make it like too, how to say it, motion crazy or anything like that. Yeah.
The one time that I did play, like when I went to the Museum of, I forgot what it was called
Museum
already.
of Living Computers.
Yes, that one. Yeah. It's the Museum of Living Computers. So I didn't actually like play this. I don't own like a VR set or anything, but they had a bunch of options for us to do. And I did 2 different games. One was where I had to like climb a mountain and collect different pieces. And I didn't climb the mountain. I already appeared at the top of the mountain somehow. Yeah. Like, I don't know how I got there. Yeah. And then I had I had to collect pieces and bring them back to this spot. I only put it for like 5 minutes, but I remember when I first put the headset on, it was weird. Like, it kind of scared me that, like, my mind was seeing all, and, like, reality was distorted. Like, I couldn't, it honestly kind of scared me. And then the second game that I played, or this one wasn't a game, it was just, like, an experience, was in the ocean. And that, like, really tripped me out. Like, it scared me. Because if you, like, turn to your left, there's, like, a whale there.
Whoa.
Yeah, it freaked me out
Oh,
at
yeah,
first.
I think I might have seen this before.
I started closing my eyes because I was scared.
Uh-huh.
Because, like, if I turn around, is there going to be a shark?
Yeah.
Is someone going to eat me? Like, I felt like I was in it. Like, and this is my first experience. So someone who's never done it before, and all of a sudden you're in the ocean, but, like, your body's not in the ocean, but your mind's in the ocean. It's weird.
That's how you can tell, like, VR, that's some good VR. Like, they're doing a good job just kind of immersing you.
Yeah, no, I was fully in it.
I think I tried a similar demo when my high school's computer science class had like two HTC Vives that we got, or I think they were Oculus dev kits. Yeah, they were Oculus dev kits, and we got a chance to play around with them and actually develop some small Unity games with them. So it was like a really fun course, and it was my favorite part of the course because that was my actual first taste of VR. And the VR demo, the first ever VR demo I actually tried over there was probably the ocean one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I remember the first few seconds I was like, what the heck, this is so crazy. So I'm saying, like, VR is like definitely the future once you get like a feel for it.
I know, like, I only can imagine, like, I think having the first one that you do be that crazy ocean one, I don't know, because it's like I had to be put in there. I had to be a little bit scared because it made me so curious. Now after that, I'm like, what else is there? Like, what else can I do that I can't physically do?
Yeah.
But I can do with these headsets.
Yeah, and to that point, being immersed, a lot of horror games in VR are
They're really popular.
They're really popular just because you're so immersed into them. It's a lot easier to scare you in VR.
Like, what's an example of that?
Like, I think Resident Evil.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, the Resident Evil 6.
Mm-hmm.
Is there pop-ups?
Like jump scares?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay. Not for me.
Have you heard of Hideo Kojima's PT?
PT, yeah.
Yeah, did they have like a VR version?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Maybe? Okay. If they have a VR version of that would be pretty cool. Yeah, because that had a lot of that was pretty spooky.
Yeah, and if you put on headphones too, it's even more.
Yeah, I know the PlayStation Move has plenty of horror focused games for the VR headset. I think Until Dawn has a side game. I don't know, it's like a circus thing or something, but yeah, I know PlayStation Move is a really popular platform for people who are just starting to get into VR, and I know for sure Sony has spent a lot of effort trying to like make sure to like PSVR like gets out there and like everyone's like, oh yeah, this is like pretty cool thing, and it only costs like $300 compared to Vive.
Yeah, a lot of the headsets are still pretty expensive.
How much is Vive?
It's around $600.
That's how much
pretty
it costed
pricey.
back then, right?
Yeah,
I know back then, like when it first came out, it was at such a crazy price. But for what it had, it might have been worth it for some people because at the time the Vive came out, it was pretty much the most advanced VR system there was.
Yeah, I think it was only HTC and Oculus at the time.
Yeah.
VR headsets out.
And yeah, it's actually surprising me because HTC, I actually back then I saw them as like a smartphone only company, and I've actually owned like several of the smartphones for the past, I say 9-8 years, except the current one I have. That's technically made by Google, but I know like HTC has made them. But they've actually done a lot of good work on smartphone cameras. So I can kind of see how that kind of plays out to like the design of the HTC Vive, especially with like camera and, you know, just visual movement and tracking.
Yeah, it was. I did find it a little strange at first when I heard the HTC was making a VR headset, because before then I only knew them as they made phones.
That'd be like Verizon coming out with that head. That's weird.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh, that's crazy.
No, like if they did.
Oh,
But
if
they're
Verizon?
not that I know of. But
Oh,
like,
okay.
if I heard that, I'd be like, what?
Gotcha.
Stick to phones.
Yeah.
I
And
guess-
I know. Oh yeah, that's right. Samsung, like I think a year or two, they came out with their own kind of VR headset too. It's not like It's not like Vive sophisticated, but I'd say like it's in between the complexity of the Vive and say like a Google Cardboard. So like I know the first version of the Gear VR came out with like a price tag of like $120 or $100, but it works really well with like a Samsung phone, and it actually, the quality, or at least the tracking, is almost as good as a Vive without having to like use a PC or anything like that. Just like the cardboard setups. I think the only issue was that like there was like little third-party support for it. So that's why I think Samsung started to open it for more devices outside of its own Samsung Galaxy line. So
Yeah.
I know there's also like similar to virtual reality where you can go on those like Wings Over Washington, or is it Wings Over Seattle?
Yeah, I was just around there.
Have you
like
guys
a few
been
days
there?
ago.
Yeah.
No, but
Have you guys been on it?
I've been on it.
Okay,
Really?
I walked by it a few times. I've never been on it. But I know a lot of places, like, I don't know, if you go to like the fair, they always have something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that's pretty similar, where you're just kind of immersed in this whole little world. Oh, even like some rides at like, have you guys been on the Star Wars ride at Disneyland?
Yeah,
That's
the,
kind of like a virtual
Star
reality.
Tours or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one feels so real.
No, like, not gonna lie, the first time I went on it, I was crying because I thought I was gonna die.
I'm pretty sure as
And
a
that's
child,
when I was like, I think that was when I was like 8 or 9.
yeah.
But after like the second time, I was still kind of immersed. But after a few times, like I got used to it. But I was still amazed by like how immersed I got, and how shaky the tram was, and like it just felt like I was actually in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like, even like when I go on the ride now, I think the last time I've been on it was like last year or something. I can understand that it's virtual reality, but it's still really cool. Whereas when I was like elementary school and went on it, I don't think I even realized that it was a virtual reality. I legit thought it was like in front of us, and it was like, I thought we were on a roller coaster. I had no idea that we're sitting in the same spot. We never moved. Like, I would have never known.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's so real.
They actually did a good job for, like the ride itself was actually way ahead of its time. Like I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when did virtual reality come out? Like the Vive game.
It was like
Vive since 2013.
2013.
Okay, that's interesting, because now I kind of want to look up what year Star Tours came out, because as long as I remember, it's been a ride there.
Yeah, I feel like it's been there at least past 2008.
Yeah, it's a pretty old ride.
Yeah.
Disneyland.
But I'd say it was pretty.
Oh my
advanced
gosh.
for its time. What year?
1987.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
they probably had a high budget for it at the time then.
32 million.
That's a lot. No, but that's actually amazing. They actually really, really went ahead of their time. Yeah, props to the engineers who designed that, or the, how to say it, what do they call it? The Imagineers? Yeah, the Disney Imagineers. Yeah. Yeah, the team that designed I think the attraction rides in the Disney parks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really crazy stuff.
I'm sure the first I don't know, edition of it probably wasn't what it is today. Like, it's probably evolved a lot, but the fact that they just had that and the whole setup was the same, it's crazy.
I wonder if they're gonna. Well, I know they made like a. how to say, like a 1.1 or 2.0 version of Star Tours. That it was like Star Tours something, or I don't know. It probably like added, maybe they added like stuff from like the sequel trilogy. But I know like they did refresh because it's a popular ride, and I felt like the people who've already been on it, like pretty much like 80% of the people who've been on it already been on it multiple times, and they kind of want to see something new. So
And they know what's coming.
yeah, they know it's coming. So that's why like how I say, like these kind of rides like kind of need like a refresh every once in a while, so they can keep it fresh and like at the same time keep like new people into joining these rides, because they're always such a joy to be in.
I think it's mainly because of the moving part of the ride for Star Tours. It's because the whole room moves with what's happening on the screen.
Yeah.
So you were saying how, like if you go on Star Tours, a bunch of times, you kind of you know what to expect, so it's not as interesting. Does the same happen with VR games? Like if you're playing your favorite game over and over again, you kind of know what's coming with the virtual reality, so maybe it's not as exciting anymore? Do you guys relate to that?
I feel like for some games, like you can like get used to like the motion part of it, but depending on like the actual gameplay of the game, like it still kind of feels newish. Like I know, for example, Super Hot, they have like they don't just have like 5, 6, 7 levels and like it's like a demo and stuff. If you progress further and further, you have like enemies coming off from the side, and it's like it still kind of feels fresh because like you're moving in different directions every single level, and it's like that's how developers have you keep playing the same game over and over again. It's just like keep adding like new variants of content over and over again.
Right, yeah, and also to that point with Super Hot, a lot of that game is you trying a level over and over again because you didn't make it to the end, like you got hit or something before the end. So that's when you kind of know what's happening in the level. You're replaying it, but this time you have to do something different to actually.
Yeah. And that's where expecting the motions actually come into the advantage. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you mess up a throw or something, then that's
and then
kind of on you.
Second time you learn not to do it again. So it's like, this actually works out and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for games like Beat Saber is kind of a special case, but because it's a rhythm game and it's very easy to put whatever songs you want onto it. You can basically play that game to whatever song you want. So there's a lot of replayability in that game.
And that's where replayability actually matters a lot in the game, so you can like get better scores and just kind of perfect your skills at it. I know, like I used to be a really good rhythm game player myself. My favorite games being like DDR and Beatmania. But Beat Saber is like, it takes me a lot of practice because I have to actually move out my entire hands and just kind of like whoosh, whoosh. And that's where it really shows that like replayability is like a really good factor for practicing to get better at these games.
So what's our opinion on, the future of VR? Like what do we want to see? Like is there something, maybe a game that we hope that will be on the market one day and where we think it's headed?
I think for me at least, I hope we get to a point where the headsets are just like, it's just the headset itself. You don't need like the base stations or a wire or even a PC. But I think that's a ways away still, because there are some, I think, that don't need a PC, but they can't do the same things that one hooked up to a PC can.
Models such as I know Oculus Quest, they're kind of closed, so it's like they don't need a PC, and they're completely standalone. You don't even need a phone as well. So, I know VR vendors are trying to come out with versions of their headsets where they don't need phones or PCs. And yeah, like, even though they're not as good as tethered ones, they're still pretty good for what they are, I believe. Like if you're watching like clips of movies or like playing like simple little games, they do the job pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it'll happen. Like everything with technology is just about eliminating like the massive equipment.
Yeah. Like
phones used to be 6 times the size that they are now, and everything's becoming more portable. So I see that happening.
Yeah. The main, I guess, cumbersome issue about VR right now is cables. Like cables everywhere. Yeah.
Wow, I bet.
And just kind of like putting everything together. But eventually we'll get there. Yeah, we're starting to come out with like slightly lighter headsets.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, in terms of games, what I would like to see in the future is like probably something like you saw in like Ready Player One. Where it's like this huge MMO where like you can like be in a completely alternative reality and just kind of like interact with people that way. One reason I think that'd be cool is so like you can be like, for example, with your friends like anywhere, anytime,
mm-hmm.
And you guys can like I would say experience different worlds or like just like role play and just kind of like live out an entirely different life than what you are used to like today. Yeah, so.
Mm-hmm. Also, what I'd like to see is some more things to immerse you. So like for controllers, for example, like right now it's just like kind of weird looking controllers,
Yeah.
Like the Vive has big clunky ones and the Oculus has the one with the rings on the top.
Yeah.
But I think having a controller that's just like your hand, that's just wrapped around your hand.
Like gloves?
Like
kind
gloves.
of like thin
Ooh,
gloves?
that'd be cool.
Yeah, thin gloves would like make it look cool.
Yeah.
But no gloves would be even better. So like if the headsets can actually track the hands and like everything itself.
One day.
It's so far away, but I know it can happen.
Yeah, well, one step at a time though.
Yeah, I know. Little steps.
No, we're just thinking far in the future. I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think for me, I don't know. I feel like whatever I'm about to say probably already exists, but like what I'd want to use VR for is just maybe going to places that I've never been before to see what it's like. Like it'd be really cool to climb Mount Everest, but I don't know if I'll ever get to do that because that's a crazy journey. So maybe I can VR climb Mount Everest or something.
Oh, that'd be cool. Like,
yeah.
I know like I know there are some games or demos where like you can actually climb some I would say it's national parks or something like that. And you can also like visit special landmarks in person. So like if you want to like see like the Space Needle and you're afraid of heights or something like that,
right?
You can like go to like a 3D VR demo that has that. Also at the same time, I know you can pretty much at least kind of like do a VR tour around the world thanks to Google's Street View.
Mm-hmm.
So like eventually like when Google saw like the opportunity for VR for that, they were able to like easily integrate VR into like Street View because the data was already there, the pictures were already there. All I had to do is just plug in a viewport to just kind of like get you in there.
Yeah, they already had the 360 camera.
Yeah, the 360 camera. And that's why I also encourage the Google Maps community or like other people outside of Google to like take pictures and kind of contribute to like this connected street view world where people can take like panoramas or even photospheres, which are like 360 photos that just use your phone and like they just use like stitches of like every angle, so like it creates like this little bubble where you are. And usually like people like to like submit those to like Google Maps, so like people can see these photos on like a computer and stuff, and if they have a VR headset then actually view them in a VR headset.
That would be awesome.
So yeah, I've actually uploaded a photos of myself of like Bothell,
Oh, nice.
Space Needle, Disneyland, like yeah. So and I thought it was pretty cool, because when I came back to my home from like all these trips and stuff, I was able to plug in my Daydream and just kind of like review like whoa, like I was actually there and stuff.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah. So,
I'm thinking like even like choosing like if you're going to like maybe like some landmark or like a restaurant or something that you've never been to,
yeah.
and I feel like it's really common to go on like Yelp or something or Google Images and look at these places, but like if I got to like see the whole 360 view, then I can actually decide if I want to eat there or not. Because maybe I'll do a 360 and I'm like, it'll look better from like the front frame. But then if I can see the whole thing, then I get the whole picture literally.
Yeah. And that's where it actually comes in handy for deciding where to go. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But of course, like seeing it in VR won't always be exactly more better than seeing it in person, but
True.
It's really close. It's like really close. Yeah.
I think it eliminates the trouble of getting places. Like you can do it from your house. When you think about like, I don't know, if you having to go places for the day, you have to pack your snacks, you gotta make sure you have the right shoes, you have to do all these things. There's like step 1 through 10, and then you have to drive there. There's all these things, but then you can literally wake up and be in your pajamas and do it. And like that idea is so cool because you can't leave your house. I mean, you could, but with pajamas on.
I guess ways to make it a little bit more immersive or more closer to like actually being there is like including, I mean, I know the sounds, the smells, the sights, the feel of the atmosphere there. So like I know with what we have right now, it's mostly like visual stuff, but if we can emulate those 5 senses, like if we were actually there, then it'd be a little more immersive that way.
Yeah, and other technology that would help the immersion would be like stuff like having some sort of like an omnidirectional treadmill to walk on.
I actually seen
That's
like
cool.
prototypes of those at like PAX or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually. I wonder if some of them actually got into retail.
That sounds dangerous. Like they need to be careful with that.
Yeah, maybe that's why they haven't been released yet,
Yeah.
because you really need to perfect them.
Like, that sounds like a lot of liability. Like you accidentally get your foot caught in the treadmill if you don't realize till like halfway through the game or something crazy.
But I saw someone playing like Team Fortress 2 on like one of the treadmills, and I thought it was really cool. Yeah, it would have been fun to play as heavy in VR mode. Like, yeah.
Wow, that should be something that we do. Can we stream like a virtual reality?
Yeah.
No, I'm down
That
for
would be so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we need to make that happen.
We're gonna have it at the potluck.
We are?
Yeah.
We could do that.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Wow. Oh my god, that's so fun. Okay.
One more cool thing that I thought of for technology would be like eye tracking. Because that's already pretty much done.
Yeah, some laptops actually already have eye tracking themselves too. Like it's like kind of, like I said, it's more on the gimmick side right now.
Yeah.
But the technology is there, and I can see the potential.
The technology is pretty much done. It just needs to be put like into a headset and actually used in some way.
Yeah.
Because you could be like not even need a controller to play some games. Then you could just look at stuff and then activate things that way.
And I think that will help for like UI elements too. So it's like if you want to look at like something on the bottom right, and you're looking that way, the eyes will like make it so like that the UI will move this way. So like you don't have to like move your eyes around and like kind of dizzy yourself.
So guys, I'm gonna head out of the podcast early because my shift is up. But honestly, they have way more insight than I do anyways. I'm gonna play my first actual VR game this Friday. So updates to come. Yeah, okay. Bye, and you can keep on listening to Jesus and Joe.
Okay, so Joe and I are gonna talk about our favorite VR games now. I guess mine would have to be Beat Saber.
You beat me to it.
Yeah, it's just it does so much with like what we have right now. It's like a lot well, games in the future will probably do a lot more because of the technology being better.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the time we're at right now, that's like the perfect like VR game, like that uses limitations well, because you're not supposed to move that much, and most of the gameplay is just in your arms, just swinging the controllers around.
Mm-hmm. And it's really, I'd say it's a really good game because it's high intensity and it's always refreshing. Because like you have the ability just to, like, technically any song can play, and the songs from the Beat Saber team. The songs that the Beat Saber team actually come out with actually have some pretty good charts and like just fun playability. So I know they recently released, I think, a pack from my favorite Japanese EDM artist, Camellia, and I actually really want to play those. Yeah, he's a really good artist. I love to listen to that kind of stuff.
I think they also released some songs from like Imagine Dragons, I think.
Oh yeah, Imagine Dragons. I heard about that too. Yeah. So the beauty of Beat Saber is that like you can, you can play with any genre you like to play with. So there's always something for everyone with that game.
Yeah, and there's always the modding community. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot.
There's plenty of like mod installers. It's pretty easy. You just load that up and then pick whatever. You can change your sabers. You can change your avatar.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You can change the colors of pretty much everything. You can change the floor you're standing on, the platform. And but most importantly, custom songs are. Yeah,
that's definitely number one up there. Any rhythm game, the number one mod is custom songs for sure. Yeah, so like games like Rocksmith, DDR, or Guitar Hero, the modding communities for those games like really focus on implementing custom songs, because that pretty much unlocks the replayability of these games to like an infinite dimension or something.
Because then pretty much any song will be on that eventually. Someone just needs to make it and then put it up on the mod list.
But yeah, Beat Saber, they actually came pretty far. I remember when they only had like, I think like less than 10 songs and it was more of a concept.
Oh yeah, that's when.
But now, and now I forgot to mention this. Beat Saber actually made its way to some arcades.
Oh yeah.
So not just on like computers and stuff. Like it used to be a game that was totally alpha, but now you can play it in like, I'd say like malls and shopping centers, and it's just really crazy how like VR games can like really progress over time.
Yeah, and I think we'll see a lot more of the these types of games, rhythm games.
For sure, like I think we're starting to get into the point where we're almost starting to get to the point where VR is becoming truly mainstream.
Yeah, we're almost there. It just needs to be a bit more accessible and affordable too. Yeah,
those two important factors for sure.
Yeah, because I think most are still around the 300-ish price. Yeah, that's still a bit much, but that's understandable for the technology they're using.
Yeah, VR is already easier. Like it's actually really easy to develop with, and like the developers for these machines actually made some pretty good SDKs and just kind of tools for making these games or like porting existing games to VR. The only things that are blocking us from having VR everywhere is definitely accessibility and affordability.
Oh yeah, I remember what I was gonna say earlier. So one thing I've thought about for the accessories, I guess you'd call them, for the immersion would be like some sort of full body suit, but that would be like that would be more for like feeling things, like
Oh,
all
yeah.
over. But
Yeah, the good example you could see is from the Ready Player One film.
yeah,
For
exactly.
sure.
Because there's like I don't think there's like any other way to do that. You'd have to wear something.
Yeah, like, huh. Yeah, you definitely have to wear something. Like, I don't think the VR could like poke at you or do like all these weird movements. It's like, yeah.
But then that's like really hard to, I guess, implement, because you'd have to be like,
Yeah.
there had to be like a maximum amount of pressure you can put on any given part of the body, because
Yeah. And imagine having to do that with like a thin piece of
Yeah.
fragment. Yeah, like I think it's possible. It's just it would take way longer than I think what we're trying to focus on, which is like kind of like integrating everything in a headset.
Yeah, that's more of like a thing to do later when the technology's there.
Yeah,
But that would be interesting to
that
have
would
that,
be interesting for
that
sure.
level of feel
Mhm.
in a game.
Like, oh my gosh, I could imagine myself like getting shot with like the suit and stuff.
Exactly.
Be like, whoa,
Uh-huh.
I'd actually probably think like I'd actually be dead or something. Probably be crying too or something. Be like, oh mom, I died.
Yeah, that's what I was mainly thinking about too. Just using those for like first-person shooters.
Mhm.
Or when you get hit with a bullet or something, you feel like a little something. It would have to be not like an actual like hard hit or anything.
Yeah, but like somewhat, not I want to say close to it, but like close enough. Like you
Yeah.
don't want it to get too realistic to the point where it can actually give you like trauma or something.
Right.
Oh yeah, I could imagine like if you were to use like med kits or something, you'd start feeling a little bit better. You get like these nice
Oh, yeah.
vibrations.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, vibrations. Yeah, for the.
Yeah, vibrations, zaps. So I don't even know, like water sprays.
Mhm.
Yeah, possibilities are limitless.
Yeah, and the suit could like compress a little bit, like when in like a stressful moment or something.
Yeah, it's like when clothes shrink in the laundry, like
Uh-huh.
that kind of type of shrinking. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then once you're out of it, it just goes back out.
Yeah. What? Okay. Now you mention that, I actually imagine myself like getting strangled by like some huge giant in Warcraft, and oh my gosh, that actually be kind of really cool.
That
At the
would
same
be-
time, be really scary because like it feels
Mhm.
like I'm getting picked up, and it's like, are you gonna drop me? You're gonna eat me? What?
Yeah, I can definitely see people not wanting that just because it'd be a little
Yeah.
too real.
But I'm just amazed how far we're progressing. I can't wait to see what's in store for sure.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to see what the Switch has in its controllers, that HD Rumble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see those in the controllers because it works very well for the Joycons. Like, I think there was one game that came out at launch. It was like 1-2 Switch that showed that off. And it was
Yeah,
actually pretty
definitely. Like
accurate.
the especially the cow one. Have you seen the cow
Yeah.
one?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and like the Ice Cube ones, and it's just I think like the Joy-Cons Rumble system is actually probably the most immersive out of all the existing controllers. I used to think the DualShocks, no, not the DualShock. Oh no, the Xbox One's pulsing triggers.
Oh yeah, the pulsing.
Yeah, those were pretty good too. But when the Joy-Cons came out, it actually felt like the vibration was coming from different places.
Yeah, they had
And-
that one game in 1-2 Switch where you had to feel how many like balls were in a box.
Yeah,
and then you could actually tell.
actually they did a good job with that, huh?
Uh-huh.
I've only played like the Milking and the Cowboy game. But yeah, I imagine like the developers had some fun times kind of experimenting with Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And because not just the Rumble, but like how small the controllers are,
Yeah.
and how they have like this amiibo thing and like the home button, the screenshot thing, and
Yeah.
has even an IR blaster.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you can connect it to a computer. So they easily became my favorite controllers because they're just so accessible. They just have like so many inputs
Mm-hmm.
for like little tiny things.
Yeah. Kind of This is just me, but I kind of wish I like the Pro controller, just in general, just because it's like an actual controller I can hold comfortably.
Yeah.
It's actually really comfortable. But it doesn't have the HD rumble.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought I did.
No.
Or maybe it was just me. I've only played on it like once or twice for Smash.
Yeah. That's kind of a drawback, but you can always just use the Joycons if you really need it.
I do see a lot of people like to play with a Pro controller, especially like outside of Switch, so like on PC and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I actually last month when I saw the Steam controller demographics, the Switch Pro controller actually started getting like a bigger piece of the pie. So it's getting there. And Valve even included support for it. So
oh yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite controller right now. It used to be the Xbox One Elite controller.
Oh yeah. Oh, the controller's really awesome. Yeah, like the back buttons and like just how sturdy the thing feels. Yeah.
Yeah, but the Pro controller, it's like the most comfortable controller I've ever held.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah. It's kind of a tangent, but
yeah, I think I know when the Wii U came out, they had like their Pro controllers too, and
oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, or like power controllers or something. I've actually never owned one myself, but playing on those were actually kind of fun, and I felt like Nintendo took the best of what was on the Wii U Pro controllers into the Switch Pro controllers, and that's how they got people to like it really, really well, because they took what's best and implemented it in the next iteration.
Yeah, they're doing good with they always do good with controllers, I think, except for maybe the N64.
I knew it. Yeah, it's like it's kind of weird because like you can technically hold it as like a D-pad type of controller.
With the joystick's in the middle.
But then if you want to play the joystick, you'd have to hold it in like, I guess, left, right. And if you're left-handed, it might be a little bit funky because like if you want to press A, B, or any of the C directional pad, the yellow buttons, it wouldn't be as comfortable if you're left-handed, because if your right hand, your joystick hand is on the right, then it'd be a little hard to But other than that, Nintendo has really cool controller designs. I really love the SNES. I love the Japanese SNES's controller design, as well as GameCube controller designs. They came out with really amazing colors.
Yeah, the GameCube one was, I think, my second favorite. Yeah, behind the Xbox One.
Yeah, there's always something about that purple. It's so satisfying to look at. I thought when you mentioned the Joy-Cons to the Switch, we're gonna go into the the Toy-Con VR set.
Oh, that. We should talk about that. Yeah,
the Nintendo Labo VR set.
Yeah, the Nintendo Labo is one of those cardboard, right?
Yeah, it's really cardboard.
It's one of those cardboard VR sets, but you don't need a phone, right?
No, you just need a Switch.
Just a Switch, okay.
Yeah.
I've never actually tried that.
The Switch and the Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons help it, but they're not completely required, because I know some games like Smash or Mario Kart, you could actually just put in the Switch inside the Labo VR kit, and you can just play with controllers elsewhere. So it's like, or if you want to see like replays of your Smash battles in VR, you can just do that. You don't even need controllers.
Yeah, that seemed really cool. They don't seem to do too much with it so far.
Yeah, but it's there. I'm actually surprised they even like dipped their hands into VR, because I wasn't expecting it in the first place.
No, not after the Virtual Boy, I think it was called.
Yeah, the blood the blood VR thingy.
Yeah, that was kind of, they kind of jumped too early on VR then.
It was such a phenomenal idea at the time. It's just that the time they executed it with, and with the current technology they had, it was a lot problematic than they thought for at least the consumer. And I felt like I'd get some eye strain from seeing red all the time.
Yeah.
But the idea they had was really out of this world. I could say the same thing with Power Glove, maybe. Yeah. But yeah, like they stopped making those, but people still like go out to like buy those as a collector's items, or like even just cosplay props. So yeah, I wish I owned mine myself.
Yeah, it's a piece of history. Yeah. Were they one of the first to do VR? I don't think so, but back then they were definitely
The first video game.
Yeah, first video game.
Yeah.
Company that did anything with VR. So that's interesting.
Yeah. I think one cool game they made with the Virtual Boy was definitely a tennis one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a tennis one, Mario Tennis.
Yeah, I could definitely see those types of games being good on that, the Virtual Boy.
Yeah. And yeah, actually, if they made, if they took Mario Aces Tennis for the Switch and did that with the Joycon VR set, then they could actually make a. Don't want to say like good, so they feel bad, but like a safer version of what they made in the past.
Yeah.
And Nintendo's versions of tennis, like Wii tennis and stuff, is always fun to play with. So.
Oh yeah, you mentioned VR chat.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen a lot on that too.
Yeah.
And that makes me wonder, like, the social, implications of being basically hanging out with strangers in VR.
That's like one of the main reasons why I want something like, from Ready Player One to be a reality. So like, I can socialize without having to like go out or like be presentable and like, bring all this stuff and all of that. It also makes it easier for my friends to like just kind of be at the place and can actually, emulate physically being there. At the same time, it's actually fun to like meet new people and just kind of be yourself around people that like you'll probably never see in real life, but it doesn't matter because YOLO, right?
Yeah.
And you can actually, in VR chat, you can actually choose to be any 3D model or persona. So like I saw like a bunch of anime characters, a bunch of Kermit the Frogs, and let's not forget my favorite, Uganda Knuckles.
Oh yeah,
those were everywhere.
Yeah, that was a big thing a while ago.
Back in the day when VR chat was big, like every time you went into a room, you'd always hear this saying, "Do you know the way? Do you know the way?" Yeah, VR chat really opened up opportunities for the social aspect of VR for sure. And another reason why VR chat became so big was that like the developers made it multi-platform. And stuff like this actually became popular too because there were other game studios or like independent game artists making, I would say, like bootleg-ish, not bootleg-ish, but like similar versions to VR chat on like mobile phones and stuff. I tried something like Alt VR on my phone back in the day with my Daydream headset, and even though there wasn't as many people as they were in VR chat, I still felt like I was in like a different socializable place.
Yeah. I guess when you're not face to face, like in the traditional sense, then it can be easier to talk to people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I heard the creator of VR Chat say something like he wanted to do something like VR Chat but for like professionals, like have a room where like company executives could go to virtually and talk there, just so they don't have to travel.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a really good idea. Yeah, like so companies wouldn't have to worry about travel expenses and stuff like that. Also, yeah, it'd actually it might be another good way to host interviews as well.
Yeah,
because I know phone interviews they can be all right. I mean, it depends. They can be an on and off experience, but I feel like being there in person like really helps you like get to know the person a little bit more.
Yeah.
And with maybe when we get the technology to actually track our space and like
full body tracking.
Full body tracking, like being able to see like a realistic model of ourselves rather than like a quickly generated 3D model. Like it would make it more professional looking.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening.
And I could totally imagine a VR chat professional version, like for example, like LinkedIn in person. So like people can like link up and like talk about work experience and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, and then the employees could use it too, just like anybody wanting to like talk with their colleagues or their boss or something, and they're super far away and they can't do it in person, so they just do it in virtual reality.
And they could also like, if they wanted to, they could like host like meetings in virtual reality and get like whiteboards and computers and stuff like that. So like if they want to share like blueprints, do coding challenges, I don't know, simulate cooking or something, if like they're like chefs or something, like that could happen. Yeah. But I think an alternative that kind of like is trying to reach that goal is definitely AR headsets, like HoloLens. So AR is basically, I'd say it's like a fork of VR, or like you don't really but in this case you don't really require like a screen or something, but rather it uses the actual world that you see. It just creates like a layer of like 3D objects and like it's kind of like interfaces right above what you see. So like you're still required to like see your actual world, but like it's like augmented by technology, which is why it's called augmented reality.
Yeah, if you have a 3DS, you know exactly about that.
Like for example, AR games or Face Raiders. Those were like the best demos to showcase the 3DS's AR technology.
Kind of didn't really go anywhere after that though, but
I did love the cards though. Like I did love how you could like grab some cards and just kind of like play around with them. Like the characters were actually there and stuff.
Yeah, they definitely did do some things after release with the AR cards. I think some games actually came with their own sets.
Yeah, I know. I think like 3D World, Super Mario 3, not 3D World, 3D Land came out with a few cards.
Yeah, I think so.
And then eventually, Nintendo actually came out with a special set with one of their Nintendo eShop gift cards. I think it was like the $15 one, but those came with like a special deck of cards to play with in VR. That required a separate app download. And I think I think Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance came out with a special VR card where you could like place it on the floor or a table. And summon one of your Dream Eaters to like be there. And I just thought it was really cool to point that out.
I also remember another game that had a ton of AR cards was a Kid Icarus. Uprising.
Oh yeah, they went heavy on those. Yeah, I remember those.
They had like 100 and some cards.
Oh my gosh!
Like they had one for like every character model, and like every enemy model, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It was pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Icarus, like that game defined the 3DS. Like it was one of the best ever games. Like by the way, yeah. It was really hard to play with for some people because like you'd have to like use a stylus to like move around and stuff.
Yeah, it'll kill your hand after.
It'll kill your hand. So that's why they came out with the Circle Pad Pro.
Yeah.
So the double joysticks to just kind of mitigate the FPS, the looking around feature.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they did a really good job with the AR aspect of things.
Yeah, I played Icarus for the first time like a year ago, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't believe like I didn't get it when it first came out. But like when my friend let me borrow it, just the first level got me hooked. Like it was crazy.
It's got some. It's actually very similar to Smash in terms of design.
The design, because
Sakurai,
same director, yeah. And I can see that. I think Kid Icarus Uprising was a place for experimentation for him.
Yeah.
And he took like what he thought was cool, like in terms of design, and applied that to Smash Wii U. Like I saw some elements just kind of share that way.
Yeah.
And eventually, those two games paved out to like how Ultimate would be ultimately like, no pun intended, be designed. Yeah.
Some things off the top of my head from Kid Icarus right away is the design of the menus. They're like almost exactly the same in terms of the like the main menu, like the story and the mini game select.
Yeah, I felt like that was a how you say it, a menu design that worked really well for him. So he kind of like took that and moved it into Wii U. Yeah, his menu designs were like similar to Brawl, Vigorous, and then it kind of went a little bit different in Ultimate.
Yeah.
Because I think they got some criticism for Wii U's design, but I didn't think it was too bad. It was too bad.
It was okay, yeah. And also I think the intensity system was from Kid Icarus first.
Oh yeah, that's where they introduced the intensity system.
Yeah, and betting the whatever currency in each game.
Yeah, that was actually a really interesting way to like decide the difficulty. And it's like, if you're not good enough, get less money.
Yeah.
But we'll tone down the difficulty for you. Yeah, that's really cool. But I don't think you lose any money, right? I think if you play under 3, then you pay a little bit.
You think you don't pay anything for 3.
Yeah.
3's the default.
3's default.
You have to pay to lower the difficulty, or you bet for the higher difficulties.
Yeah.
And you lose some of your bet if you can't make it to the end.
Yeah, but it turns out difficulty for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting way to do it.
Yeah. If we talked about difficulty in video games, that would have been a good thing to talk about. Yeah, the intensity meter.
Yeah, betting on how good you'll do, because instead of the designers deciding the difficulty, the player can do it.
Yeah.
What they think they can do.
And it's not just like very easy, normal, hard.
Yeah.
It's like a spectrum.
Yeah. It's like 0 to 9. It's like the 0.1s in between. Yeah.
Yeah. Express yourself. Express your difficulty. I don't even know.
And I think they even hid some stuff behind the higher difficulties too. I might be remembering wrong, but I think there was like a boss that was only at 9 and above in a Smash game.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about Ultimate or Wii U?
Wii U, I think.
I think Wii U.
Wii
U, not 3DS. No. Wii U had like this exclusive like I'm gonna say Kirby style zone.
Oh yeah.
Thing. Where you'd have to like safely travel through the level, and you'd have like these lava bombs in the way, and in some cases, actually, in that level, if you were to reach like 100% and then touch the lava again, like you'd
It's
something
instant,
like that, like in
okay.
Great Cave Offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, but if you reach the end, then you actually get to fight the boss
Mm.
with your health still carried out, so that made it for even a more tougher challenge.
Ooh, yeah.
So, yeah, that actually made it really hard for me because Brawl I kind of found it easy, but Sakurai really went all out on difficulty.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked Brawl's single player, the Subspace Emissary. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
That whole campaign.
I was hoping it has some, well, not 1-to-1, but like something like it in Ultimate.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of there, but it's just like it's battles. There's no levels.
Yeah,
it's just the
there's
stages.
like no cutscenes or story into it.
Yeah.
And literally, that's why Brawl became my favorite game, at least for the Wii, or I say it, at least in the Smash Bros. Universe. I grew up with Brawl, so like
Me
if
too.
you're gonna say like I
Yeah.
should be liking Melee instead, don't, cause like yeah, I grew up with Brawl, but what made Brawl my favorite game was definitely Subspace Emissary, because like it placed all these characters together in the same room like never before.
Right.
And they did the same thing with Ultimate.
Yeah.
Like they did the same thing with Ultimate, including the characters with like from like Metal Gear, or how you say it? Yeah, Metal Gear, Sonic. Wait, no, they already did Sonic. Metal Gear, Bayonetta, Street Fighter, Pac-Man. What's another good one? Shulk. Yeah, all those characters together. That would be the greatest collab in the entirety of gaming history.
Yeah, I would have loved to see a story mode with all the characters, you know.
Yeah, all these gaming icons. Yeah.
Because they did have some cutscenes in Ultimate, but it's mainly just like
It's just there
showing
for
you
show. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a show.
Yeah, but if they integrate all these together, then it would be cool, like a story.
But I do like one benefit from the way they did in Ultimate with the the spirit battles is they can include a lot more characters from each franchise.
Oh yeah, I was actually surprised.
Yeah, like there's a ton of characters like I have never seen before. It's my first time seeing them in Ultimate, just because they're related to one of the fighters.
Yeah, I was surprised they were able to implement something like that. I actually only played like spirits or adventure mode or something, like a few times, once or twice, because I mainly just got the game to like play with my friends and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I was surprised they were able to fit in like 300, 400
there's like
things. Yeah, like
800.
1,000. Yeah, close to the 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like, it's like the biggest number, and it kind of reminds me like of the number of Pokemon we have in Pokemon games.
Yeah.
I heard like, I heard Sword and Shield were gonna have like the entire.
Yeah, they're not gonna have the whole
yeah,
decks.
and that's where I'm starting to think like, are we starting to have too many Pokemon now? Because I think we're reaching to the 1,000s pretty soon.
Yeah,
Might already have.
I think there's a point where there's too many, but I don't know if. I think we're starting to hit that point.
Yeah, and these are like design choices, like how do I say it? Like veteran game designers have to like eventually run into. Like, they want to include as much as they can, but eventually there's going to be a limit.
Yeah. And balancing
for sure. Yeah, balancing gets really hard when you have a lot of characters. You can see League of Legends.
Yeah.
People are always complaining about the balancing issues on that game. And then same thing with Ultimate. And I feel like most of the time spent on developing these characters is balancing the character with the other characters, as well as like the focus, the trophy assist and stuff like that. Yeah. And I bet that'd be a tough job for like their QA department or whoever validates these things.
Yeah, I could imagine having to test one
Yeah.
character against every single other character,
I think of myself, I'd spend like probably a month or something. But yeah, I'll do it for Smash. I'd do it for Smash. I love
Yeah.
Smash.
And
I wish I
then-
got to play it more.
Yeah, and then also testing all the move interactions.
Yeah, hitboxing and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then with the trophies, the assist trophies, and
Yeah, I really owe Sora, LT, Bandai Namco, and just everyone at Nintendo, and especially Sakurai for pouring so much of their time perfecting this game, because this type of game is really hard to make.
yeah, especially getting all those third-party characters.
Yeah, licensing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think, what is it now? Cloud, Ryu, Ken,
Castlevania characters, Bayonetta,
yeah, Simon Richter, Bayonetta,
Joker.
Joker. the
And then we're
Hero.
getting Hero.
Yeah,
Yeah, Hero, which
Banjo-Kazooie.
recently came out.
Uh-huh.
He's kind of fun to play with. And then eventually Banjo-Kazooie. Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine that? And there's also a rumor for like the fifth character. Like, what I read so far
Uh-huh.
is like Frisk from Undertale. Like, wait a minute, that's not real. But yeah, I can't wait to see what the fifth character is going to be. Hopefully, with the type of characters we're getting, hopefully someone like really different from these franchises.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Because
that last one.
Ultimate is the first game where I'm starting to feel like it's not just Nintendo, it's the entire gaming world.
Uh-huh.
Like, we're actually getting like an official Mugen.
Yeah, that last one I think kind of has to blow everyone's socks off.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh-huh.
And I know Banjo-Kazooie, like when I got
Yeah.
announced, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, isn't that owned by Microsoft or something? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people were saying it's gonna be like Minecraft Steve or Master Chief
Yeah.
or
It
someone
could,
else.
no,
It could
Master
very-
Chief and Minecraft, that could be a possibility. I mean,
Yeah,
Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, those were one of the like
Uh-huh.
along with Banjo-Kazooie. That was
And they're up
some
there
of
in terms of the
predictions.
iconic lineup, yeah.
Uh-huh. And like what else?
My friend really wants Sora up there.
Sora,
but
yeah,
it's
uh-huh.
yeah, if
that's
they have
kinda-
5 more characters, maybe, but
Yeah, that's kind of
the more how do you say it, more meaningful decision would have to be made for this last one.
Yeah, they already have Cloud from Square Enix.
Yeah.
So
I remember when that got announced, it
mm,
made my entire week. Like,
Yeah.
I was so amazed by the fact that like Square Enix made out their way to include a Final Fantasy character. It was like,
they're a little stingy with him though, but I'm glad he's in the game.
yeah.
He only has like the stage and like 2 songs from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, this stage is really good.
It's a good
The guard
stage,
stage, yeah.
Mhm. But they're like they only gave 2 songs for some reason. I have no idea why.
Really? For Wii U?
Yep.
Or Ultimate?
For both.
I think Ultimate, I feel like they included a few more. Like, they definitely had to include a few more. If not,
Yeah,
well,
like it was like 4 maximum. Like, but there's so many tracks from that game.
then again, how much did Pac-Man and Street Fighter get? Street Fighter got a lot, I think,
Yeah,
of tracks.
They got a lot of tracks.
Yeah, because they're just so, I guess, fun to listen to.
And I think Cloud doesn't even have a English voice.
It doesn't.
No, it says Japanese.
Oh yeah, that's right. Eventually, Ultimate Marv's voice got switched to English.
Mm.
So I was surprised they didn't do that to Cloud.
Yeah, and I think it is nice that they give him the alternate costume though, the Advent Children.
Yeah. Oh
costume.
yeah, that's actually a really good
Yeah.
decision they made. Yeah, I've never seen Advent Children myself, but I've seen trailers and stuff, and I just really love cinematics.
Square Enix does a really good job at cinematics and just kind of like
Yeah.
making it. It's like they're pretty much the gaming version of Pixar. I see, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that's also another reason why I like Kingdom Hearts, because like they always do a good job with visuals.
Yeah, definitely. But it does seem that Square Enix is being a lot more friendly with Nintendo lately. They're porting a lot of their games to the Switch.
For sure. They also develop some games first time there too, like I think Octopath Traveler.
Oh yeah, they did Octopath.
It's really really good looking game.
And they're doing.
And the Last Story, and Last Remnant. Those two are at least published by Square Enix on the Wii first.
Yeah, and they already have a bunch of the Final Fantasies on the Switch.
Oh yeah, like 7, 8, yeah, I think.
I think they're planning to do all of them at some point.
I'd be surprised if it had 13 in there. I really like 13. I still listen to their soundtrack.
Oh yeah, that's one of those I haven't played yet, but I still want to.
Yeah, it's like the gameplay is, I'd say it's a little lazier than the other games, but I eventually found myself liking to play it, mostly because of the soundtrack, the visuals, character designs, story. I really didn't care too much, but I guess it's just like being in that world. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do hear it's like a hallway.
It is a hallway. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just kind of played it because of the vibe.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's linear. Being too linear isn't always that bad.
Yeah. I know Final Fantasy X was somewhat linear, right? At least
Yeah,
that's what I heard.
it's
Or 12. I can't remember which of those two had like some linearity.
10 is linear up to a point, then it becomes open world.
Yeah. 13 was the same thing, but like 13 had too much of the linear up until like the last 6 of the game. Where they reach where they come from like this the floating planet into the actual big wild earth, the grand plane or something.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that's a Zelda thing, the grand for a while. Yeah, I recently played that too. Fun game, really beautiful world.
Yeah, and I remember in Final Fantasy X, it's linear because you have to go through every location first, walking on foot.
Yeah.
And then once you get to the end, you get an airship, and then you can go literally wherever.
Everywhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's like halfway through the game.
Yeah. I feel like that would be a roadblock for some people, especially for those who are more used to the open world Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed our discussion. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Digital Future Lab and on Twitter at DFL_studios. Tune in next time for more on games, technology, and diversity.